Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me in another video. Blossom, today, we're going to dive into a very special topic: how to revive an orchid using a simple homemade fertilizer, and giving tips along the way to make sure your orchid thrives. So grab your plant, and let's get started. What I have here is an orchid I recently bought from a nearby seller. They said they were selling it at a very low price because, in their words, the plant was hopeless. And honestly, looking at it, I can see why. The leaves are dull and slightly wrinkled, showing signs of dehydration. Some of the lower leaves are yellowing, which usually indicates that the plant has been under stress for a while, either from lack of nutrients, improper watering, or both. The roots are another story. Many of them are dry, brittle, and shriveled, which is a clear sign the orchid hasn't been watered correctly or that the medium it's in isn't suitable. We're going to start by carefully removing the orchid from its old pot. Cherry blossom, since this plant has been neglected, the old potting medium is likely compacted and not providing enough air to the roots. Removing it will allow us to inspect the roots and give the orchid a fresh start. Gently hold the base of the plant and tip it out of the pot. Take your time. Some roots may be fragile, so avoid pulling or forcing them. Once the orchid is out, it's time to remove the old substrate. This is usually a mix of bark, moss, or other materials that may have broken down over time. Broken down substrate can retain too much water, suffocate roots, and even encourage rot or fungal growth. Carefully loosen and remove all of it, making sure to expose the roots so we can assess their health. Now that we've removed the old substrate and exposed the roots, it's time to trim them. Scissors. Take a clean, sharp pair of scissors or shears and carefully cut away any roots that are dried out, shriveled, or otherwise unable to provide nutrients for the plant. Healthy roots are firm and usually green or silvery, while dead or damaged roots may be brown, black, or brittle. Removing them prevents the plant from wasting energy on parts that can't recover. Be gentle as you trim. You don't want to damage the healthy roots or stress the plant unnecessarily. After trimming, you'll notice that the orchid looks a little smaller, but this is normal. It's now ready to focus its energy on new growth. As you continue trimming, take a moment to inspect each root carefully. Healthy roots are plump, firm, and often have a green or silvery tint, sometimes with fresh white tips indicating new growth. These are the roots you want to keep intact. On the other hand, any root that is dark, mushy, or completely dried out should be removed. Now that we've trimmed the roots, it's time to give the plant a nice wash. Use a gentle spray of water from a hose or sink tap. The key here is to avoid a strong, harsh stream. We don't want to damage the delicate roots. Gently rinse the roots and the base of the orchid, making sure to wash away any remaining old substrate, dust, or debris. This step not only cleans the plant, but also allows you to get a better look at the roots, so you can be sure you've removed all the damaged parts. While washing the orchid, you may notice that some roots or root tips are uneven or jagged. Before finishing the wash, it's a good idea to carefully trim these areas with your clean scissors or shears. Scissors. Just make small, gentle cuts to even out the roots, removing any rough or damaged tips that might not recover. This helps the plant focus its energy on healthy growth and prevents potential issues like rotting at uneven ends. Once you've finished washing and trimming the roots, it's time to give the orchid a final gentle clean. Take a clean tissue or soft rag and carefully wipe the leaves, the base of the plant, and any remaining moisture from the roots. This helps remove leftover debris or water droplets and also gives the leaves a nice, fresh look. Be gentle. You don't want to damage the leaves or disturb the roots. Now that our orchid is cleaned and ready, let's move on to making our homemade fertilizer. We'll start with half of a potato. Potatoes are a great natural source of nutrients for orchids, especially carbohydrates, which can give the plant an extra energy boost to help it recover. Take a clean, fresh potato and cut it in half. We'll be using just one half for this recipe, so you can save the other half for cooking or another fertilizer batch later. While we're cutting the potato, I'd love to know, where are you watching this video from? Drop a comment down below and let me know your country. It's always exciting to see how many orchid lovers are joining from around the world. I read every comment and enjoy seeing all the different places orchids are being cared for. So don't be shy. Let me know where you're watching from while we continue preparing our homemade fertilizer. Once you've finished cutting the potato, place all the pieces into a clean container. Next, add about 500 milliliters of hot water. The warmth helps extract the nutrients from the potato more efficiently, giving us a stronger, more effective fertilizer. Give a mixture a good stir so that all the pieces are evenly soaked in the water. This ensures that the potato releases its nutrients uniformly into the liquid. Once stirred, wrap the container in a clean towel. This helps keep the warmth inside and allows the mixture to sit undisturbed. We'll let it sit for about 25 minutes. While we're waiting for the potato mixture to infuse, let's prepare our next ingredient, turmeric. Herb. Start by pouring a teaspoon of turmeric powder into a clean container. Turmeric is great for orchids because it has natural antibacterial and antifungal properties, which can help protect the plant from infections while it's recovering. Next, add about 500 milliliters of clean water. Give a mixture a good stir to make sure the turmeric is evenly dissolved. You want a smooth solution without clumps so it can be easily applied to the orchid later. Once stirred, set it aside for 30 minutes. After about 30 minutes, our turmeric mixture has had time to infuse. Now it's time to strain it. Take a fine mesh strainer and carefully pour the mixture through it into a clean container. This filters out any turmeric particles that haven't fully broken down. We want a smooth liquid because clumps can clog a spray bottle or make it harder to apply evenly to the orchid. Once strained, you'll have a clean, golden solution that's ready to be combined with the potato infusion. Now, let's move on to our potato mixture. Just like we did with the turmeric solution, take a fine mesh strainer and pour the potato mixture through it into a clean container. This filters out any solid pieces that didn't fully break down, leaving us with a smooth, nutrient-rich liquid. Now both our potato and turmeric mixtures are ready, clean, and smooth, perfect for combining into a natural fertilizer that will help revive our orchid. Next, we're going to apply our homemade fertilizer to the orchid leaves. Take a clean tissue or soft cloth and dip it into the combined potato and turmeric solution. Make sure it's fully soaked so that it can carry enough nutrients to the plant. Now, gently brush the tissue across the leaves, starting from the base and moving outward toward the tips. This helps the plant absorb the nutrients directly through the leaves while also cleaning off any dust or debris. Be gentle. You don't want to damage the leaves. Take your time to cover both the top and underside of each leaf. This process not only nourishes the orchid, but also gives it a refreshed, healthy look. While we're doing this part, did you know that orchids can actually absorb nutrients not just through their roots, but also through their leaves? That's why gently brushing a nutrient solution across the leaves can be so effective. It's also a great way to give the plant a little extra protection. The nutrients help strengthen the leaves, making them less susceptible to pests or fungal issues. After we've finished brushing the leaves, it's time to give the roots a gentle nutrient boost as well. Cherry blossom. Take another clean container and pour in the remaining potato turmeric solution. Carefully place the orchid into the container, making sure that only the roots are submerged in the liquid. The leaves and crown should stay above the surface to avoid any risk of rot. Leave the orchid in the solution for about an hour. After an hour, carefully take the orchid out of the solution. You may already notice a difference. The roots look fresher, plumper, and more hydrated. Even the base of the plant seems perkier, as if it's already starting to recover. This soaking process allows the roots to absorb nutrients directly, giving the orchid an immediate boost. It's amazing how much a struggling plant can benefit from a gentle, natural solution like this. Now that the roots have soaked and the orchid is refreshed, we're going to treat the trimmed areas to help prevent infection. Take some cinnamon powder. Yes, the same spice you use in cooking. Cinnamon is a natural antifungal and antibacterial agent, which makes it perfect for protecting freshly cut roots. Gently sprinkle a light layer of cinnamon onto the trimmed areas of the roots. You don't need a lot, just enough to coat the cuts. This will help the plant heal faster and reduce the risk of rot or disease while it recovers. Be careful not to overdo it, and make sure the cinnamon only touches the trimmed roots and not the leaves. Once this is done, the orchid is ready to move into its new pot with fresh substrate, giving it a clean, safe environment to grow strong again. Now let's prepare our orchid's new home. Start by choosing a pot with clear drainage holes. Drainage is essential because orchids don't like to sit in water. Good airflow around the roots helps prevent rot and encourages healthy growth. Once you have the pot, begin by adding a layer of pine bark at the bottom. Pine bark is an excellent substrate for orchids because it allows air to reach the roots while also retaining just enough moisture. Make sure the layer is even and gently press it down so the orchid will have a stable base to sit on. This is the foundation for our plant, so taking a little extra care here ensures the orchid will be comfortable and secure in its new home. Next, we'll carefully place the orchid in the center and continue filling around the roots to complete its new potting. Once the main substrate is in place and the orchid is sitting securely in the pot, it's time to add a top layer of moss. Moss helps retain a bit of extra moisture around the base of the plant, which is especially helpful for orchids recovering from stress. It also gives the pot a neat, finished look. Take some clean, slightly damp moss and gently place it on top of the pine bark, making sure not to press too hard. You want the roots underneath to stay aerated, so just a light layer is enough to provide moisture without suffocating the plant. Did you know that moss isn't just decorative for orchids? Moss actually helps maintain a consistent level of moisture around the roots, which is especially important for orchids that are recovering or just repotted. It acts like a natural sponge, holding water when the plant needs it and slowly releasing it so the roots don't dry out too quickly. From this point on, establishing a daily routine is crucial for the orchid's recovery and overall health. Check the plant every day for moisture levels. Orchids don't like to sit in water, but they also shouldn't dry out completely. Make sure the substrate is slightly damp and the moss on top is retaining just enough moisture without becoming soggy. Observe the leaves and roots regularly. Healthy leaves should stay firm and green, while roots should look plump and silvery. Any signs of yellowing leaves, shriveled roots, or pests should be addressed immediately. Light and airflow are also important. Place your orchid in a spot with bright, indirect light and good ventilation. This helps the plant photosynthesize efficiently and prevents fungal growth or rot. After 4 weeks, it's time to check on our results. Look at those roots. You can see fresh, plump, healthy roots growing where the plant was struggling before. The new growth is a clear sign that our homemade fertilizer and careful care have helped the orchid recover. The leaves also look healthier and firmer, and the overall plant appears more vibrant. This transformation shows how a little patience, consistent care, and natural nutrients can make a big difference, even for a plant that seemed hopeless at first. It's incredibly rewarding to see the orchid bounce back like this. And it's proof that orchids, while delicate, are very resilient when given the right care. Now that our orchid has started showing new growth, it's time to continue a consistent care routine using the homemade solution we prepared. Start with misting the leaves. Take a clean tissue or soft cloth, dip it into the solution, and gently wipe or mist the leaves. This helps the plant absorb nutrients directly through the leaves while keeping them clean and free from dust or pests. Next, we move on to watering the roots. Pour the remaining solution carefully around the base of the orchid, making sure to hydrate the roots without soaking the crown. This ensures the nutrients reach the parts of the plant that need them most. Repeat this routine regularly, misting the leaves and lightly watering the roots every few days depending on your orchid's needs and the climate where you live. Consistency is key, because orchids respond best to gentle, repeated care rather than occasional heavy feeding. And finally, after another 28 days, it's time to see the full results of our care routine. Look at the orchid now. The roots are strong, plump, and healthy, and the leaves have regained their vibrant green color. You can even see new shoots and signs that blooms may be coming soon. This transformation shows how consistent care, gentle handling, and natural fertilizer can revive a struggling orchid. What once looked hopeless is now thriving, proof that patience and the right techniques really pay off. It's incredibly rewarding to see the plant bounce back, and it's a reminder that orchids, while delicate, are resilient when given the proper attention and care. By following this routine, you can help your own orchids recover and grow beautifully, no matter their starting condition. And there you have it. Our orchid has gone from looking hopeless to thriving once again, from trimming and cleaning the roots to applying our homemade potato and turmeric fertilizer and repotting it into fresh pine bark and moss. Every step helped this plant regain its strength and vitality. Remember, patience and consistent care are key. Even orchids that seem beyond saving can bounce back with the right routine and a little TLC. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on reviving and caring for orchids, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your own orchid stories in the comments. I'd love to hear where you're watching from and how your plants are doing. Keep nurturing your orchids, enjoy the process, and I'll see you in the next video for more orchid care tips.